I like what dude, you got the Mew Mew on.
What's a Mew Mew?
It's a designer clothing brand. You got the Balenciaga.
When Miyazaki like sees this mod, do you think he likes it?
You got him. I'm just gonna be honest with you, brother. I think he's busy.
What did
Strikes me as a busy guy. I'm not sure he has any thoughts at all on the seamless co-op mod.
Here's what Miyazaki does. He takes out a notepad, like one of those 3-ring binder things.
You can't just say, "Here's what he does."
This is what he does.
Something up.
This is what he does. What
are you talking about?
This is what he does. He takes out one of those 3-ring spiral binders, writes like a couple bullet points about Elden Ring DLC, and then he gives it to his team. They make it, and then he's watching Twitch the rest of his time.
I don't think so. I'd be surprised.
Bro, you think Miyazaki's in there in the code making the game? You think Miyazaki's coding? No.
I don't think he's probably doing that much coding himself, but I don't know. That's just a hunch. But I mean, she's got other stuff to do. You know, these are big works of art. It's not like farting out a Twitch stream every day like we do.
But he's not. He does the bullet points. That's what he does, and he says yes or no, and then gives a little bit of insight.
I think it's a little more complicated than that. But you know, I mean, I don't know. You might be right. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to? He's offended by the Twitch mod because the game mod because he didn't want seamless co-op in the game.
Yeah, I wanted you to appeal to your Reddit fan base that's waiting.
I think he's got other stuff to do, man. I think he's preoccupied.
Didn't you go to like a live thing with Kate for a Souls game? I remember watching you on like the set of a game, and it was like Soulsy.
Oh, okay. So this is like two different things. I did play. I had a sponsored stream at Twitch HQ for Monster Hunter.
But did it look like a Souls
Monster
background?
Hunter?
Kind of.
Yeah. Monster Hunter is a third-person action game.
But I'm saying the set looked like you're on Dark Souls.
I mean, I was sitting on a couch.
Oh.
So, then again, what is more Anne Orlando than a couch?
Wait, so you did, and then you did one for Bluehole?
I honestly, God is my witness, I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, because you said there were two things you did, Souls adjacent.
The other one, yeah. I went to Final Fantasy 14 Fan Fest with Kate, which is what I thought you were talking about to begin with.
No, it was
I wasn't on stream or anything. People are like, it's the PUBG dev. Yeah, I know that much. I just don't know. What it has to do with this.
Who did Demon Souls remake? Blue Point?
Blue Point, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wait, you were the one that blew the top off Twitch HQ.
Oh, I have no idea what you're saying to me. What do you mean I blew the top off Twitch HQ?
Because when you got back from that Konami thing for Dragon Hunter.
What are you talking about, Konami?
The Dragon Hunter thing.
Okay, Capcom, Monster Hunter, it was at the Twitch HQ.
But then you came back and you told us how like around every turn there's like a spigot of nitro cold brew coming out of every wall in Twitch HQ.
That is true, yes. Listen, this is pre them walking back the 70-30 split to 50-50 and then walking that back again. But when they walked back the 70-30 split to 50-50, I just thought about the $30 per sandwich catered lunches that were coming in and the fully stocked refrigerators. And then people were like, NL, that's not fair. That's not fair. If you want good talent in the Bay Area, you have to play that game. You have to have work happy hours with like, you know, alcoholic kombucha on tap. Otherwise you won't be able to compete with the Googles and the Apples and the stuff like that. So it's possible that I'm a little ignorant of the hiring constraints in that business.
No, but you blew the top off. No one knew that was a Twitch secret until you shared about the nitro cold brew.
Well, that's because everybody else, I mean, I'm the only honest streamer, right? They were all worried about losing out on the fountain of LaCroix. I can't be bought with sparkling water, only with money, like a normal person. By the way, I know some other streamers that have played this. I'm not trying to call out anybody who may or may not be in the chat. I understand they went a little bit more, you could say strategic, you could also say a little more, pussy. One melee character, one magic character. We're not going to be doing that today. I thought about I could just spawn in and start yeeting magic missiles while Dan tanks the damage. That's not the way we do things around here. I mean, if you're not getting up close and personal, like what are you even playing Elden Ring for?
One more. Read him. Yeah.
Oh, no.
How do we emote? Bottom right.
Gestures. Woohoo.
Nice kill though, by the way.
I mean, now could anything stop us until like, dare I even utter her name in your presence?
That's gonna be like child's play. 2v1 Melania.
Because like, don't just like one person just eats the, and then the other person is just like going to town.
I mean, we don't even have to eat it. You can just dodge it, you know?
Well, you know, some of us don't have 4,000 attempts of experience. Some of us only took like maybe 300. I think we take them, honestly. And I think it's easy. That's the craziest part about all of it.
Okay.
There are a few more than I anticipated, though.
I'm working them from the backside.
Yeah, okay. Give me a taste. Don't even worry about this guy. Watch this, Dan. Can you see this?
Yes. Nicely done.
Thank you for the assist. Thank you. Thank you. Dude, there's nothing in the world like hitting a parry in the Souls games.
I mean, watching it from third party was pretty impressive. You know what? All these years I've known you, you know what I've never asked you?
What?
What was your first job?
My first job, I worked part-time my first year of university doing phone canvassing for donations from alumni. And I gotta tell you, it's a different environment, man. Like in 2006, you could literally phone up like someone who graduated from your university like 5 years ago and be like, hey, do you want to give like $100 to the school that you gave $20,000 to when you were going there? And they're like, yes, no problem. Every once in a while, you'd call somebody and they're like, no, money's tight. And you're like, that makes sense. But people were like, I don't know. It's just crazy to me to think that like 18 years ago, people would be like answering the telephone whenever it rang. It's crazy. And then they'd be like, a stranger just asked me for $100. Sure, here's my credit card number over the phone. Like, what were we thinking, man?
When your old university calls you and asks for a donation, what do you say?
It's literally never happened. So I guess like any databases that they bought, they don't have my information on it. Then that summer, I worked at Goodwill for like 6 weeks. Physically processing the donations, and that's a different world.
What? I mean, there had to be some amazing stuff. Did you get like tier 1 like rare Pokemon cards coming in and stuff, or what did you see?
Typically just garbage.
What do you mean? People donate like garbage?
Well, on a literal level, yes. Like sometimes you would just show up for open and there would be like garbage bags full of garbage in front of the Goodwill. And I imagine what happened is people said like, I have garbage, but I don't want to like feel like I've created waste. So they just give it to you to be like, maybe they'll sort through my garbage bag and I don't know, find some stuff that they could take to the recycling depot for 35 cents a pound. So we just threw it in the garbage. Sometimes people would just donate like old boxes from their attic and it would have like food in it.
Ew.
Like unopened boxes of like Ritz crackers and stuff like that. So you know we were snacking. I will tell you what, so you know how Goodwill works, I'm sure, but for anybody who doesn't, it's a store that sells items that people donate in order to raise money for charity, essentially. I'll go to the map and I will take us War Master's Shack.
Yeah. How does this just work? How does this just work? It just works. Sorry, go explain Goodwill.
Yes, so people donate products and then you sell them. And I remember one day, it was like the best day of work because I was on the floor doing customer service and quote unquote sales instead of processing garbage that people dropped off. And there was just a bin of miscellaneous items, right? And the lady called me over and she said, excuse me, can you help me? And she was holding like blinds, like that you would put on your window. And she was like, I want to get these blinds, but like they're missing like this little piece on the end that you need to attach them to the window. Do you have it? So I like dove into the barrel, Donkey Kong Country style, like on my like face basically looking for this little piece. And I was like scrounging through the barrel and I'm like, sorry, we don't have it. And then she looked me in the eyes and said, well, can you order it in? And I was like, politely, I was like, oh no, we can't do that here. But in my head, I was like, do you know where you're shopping? This isn't like, you know, Ryan's Blinds and Drapes. This is, someone brought this in here and then a 18-year-old kid like me looked at it and said, clean blinds? I don't know, $7.50, put it on the floor. We don't have like a warehouse with all the the loose parts and stuff like that.
Was there like a certain genre of customers that would come in? Like, could you see like, oh, Timmy's looking for old electronics? Were there like certain people you knew were looking for certain things?
Honestly, I wasn't on the floor enough to know the regulars. I was that would have been a blessing. Instead, I was in the back rooms with the other ex-cons trying to like unload stuff from the back of someone's truck, and then you get it inside and it's just a bunch of old like soiled pillowcases, and you're like, well, I'm glad I slipped the disc getting that out of your F-150.
What were your
Also, no disrespect to Balatro. Balatro doesn't have Horaloo.
I couldn't get into Bingo Bingo, could you?
I didn't even touch it. Because for me, it's like, hey, like, The Godfather Part 2 came out. And then like a week later, people are like, hey, are you going to check out, like, Analyze That? I know you like Mafia games. There's another Mafia game that just came out. Hey, are you going to go see Mickey Blue Eyes? I'm like, bro, we're just like, we just got The Godfather Part 2. Let me digest The Godfather Part 2 before we start doing, like, you know, Mafia Mommy starring Toni Collette.
What like when you say leak all my information, like what?
I don't know, like the password to a single account that contains all the information they need to get into all your other accounts.
Well, you think I would leak that?
I think accidents happen.
But you're saying I'm negligent enough to make that happen?
Yeah.
What?
If not for yourself, then for someone else. Didn't you post your address on Twitter one time?
No. Why in chat if you think I'm that negligent, and in chat if no?
I was in a hotel with Kate, and I opened up Twitter, and I was like, Dan just posted an envelope on Twitter with his address on it. And then like a minute later, the tweet got deleted, and I was like, what is this guy doing?
Didn't you leak your IP in Minecraft once?
I thought that I did, because people in chat were like, press F6 or something, and then like a bunch of decimal point numbers came up on the screen, and I was like, any one of those could be the IP. You deleted the VOD? Yeah, because I asked chat. I was like, did my IP show? And then people were like, yes, delete VOD. And then I deleted the VOD, and people were like, oh, he deleted the VOD. I was going to watch that later. And I'm like, you're the one who told me to delete it, man. So that's why that whole Minecraft situation where like people are like, we got you good. That's why whenever I change settings in anything, whenever I'm switching tabs in Google Chrome during the dulls, that's why I put the screen on black. It's PTSD from that one day. And people are like, I hate when he puts the screen on black. I'm like, you did it, brother. We were letting it fly. 2016 to 2011 or whatever. We were just showing it all. All it takes is one bad day.
Hey, what do you call it when I do that? You have a name for it. I forget what it is. When I just alt-tab openly.
You're crazy to me because you use display capture.
Yeah, but you call that something. I forget what you call that.
Raw dogging it? That sounds right to me. He's throwing out not just alt-tabs, but the alt-tab where you hold it and then all of the contents of all of your windows show up on screen for 1,000 strangers to see. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It's too much for me.
What are you hiding? What? I got nothing to hide. What are we hiding?
It's not I'm hiding anything. It's that, you know, I'm using one PC. Like literally, it's tax season right now. I'm getting emails from my accountant that are like, hey, we forgot your social security number. Can you pop it in here? And then like, you know, you're doing it at 11 p.m. Maybe you forget to close the tab. I'm just trying to keep my risk level low. I'm not taking NetSec advice from somebody who posted an envelope with their shipping address on it. It's crazy.
It was a P.O. box. Speaking of, how come you got rid of your P.O. box?
It's just I didn't want the stuff that people were sending me, to be honest. I made Kate aware of that fact for like 5 years before the P.O. box even stopped.
What?
And then like I think finally she just didn't re-up it when we moved, and I was like, this is like a blessing for my life.
You made Kate aware. What did you say to her?
That I don't like the P.O. box. Like it was like no disrespect, but if I like wanted that stuff, I would just buy it. So like most of the stuff that is being sent is like stuff that I don't want, which is fine, but like I don't want it. I mean, it's just the reality of the situation is that most of the stuff ended up in the garbage anyway. The fan art is nice. It's always nice to get the fan art. I'm talking more like, you know, 30 Star Wars action figures, you know, a sailor costume. You got a nice Blu-ray collection as a result of that. I'm grateful for that. Don't get me wrong. That's how we watch Game of Thrones.
Wait, people would send you costumes?
They were sending us all sorts of nonsense.
Like what? I know you got Star Wars action figures, like a case of them.
Why don't you have a P.O. box, brother?
I do. I just don't leak it.
What do you have it for then?
Just so people don't send stuff to my house?
Like so the mailman doesn't send stuff to your house?
Just if I have to give an address, like at Costco, I don't want them having my address, so I give them the P.O. box.
Do you ever open your P.O. box?
Once a month.
That's crazy.
What do you mean?
So when you open it up, it's just a bunch of junk mail?
No, sometimes there's good stuff in there, like checks.
Why are the checks coming to the P.O. box, man?
Because for a while I had my insurance on double pay or auto pay. And then they one day, normally I just throw all the insurance stuff in the garbage. I'm like, I'm going to open this one. And it was like a refund check. It's like, you've been double paying us. You never get those checks every now and then? I didn't tell you the other day, man. I went to, so my son really likes Madden on PS5. Necessarily. He gets really frustrated though, because there's like 8,000 menus. So I'm like, okay, let me slowly fade away Madden PS5 and replace it with the NES. I went to a local retro game store and I walk in and the dude's like, hey, do I know you from somewhere? And I'm like, I don't know. And I just happen to be wearing a red shirt and a black hat. And I'm like, okay, here we go, like Big Brother. Yeah. And he goes, you play Fortnite with Northern Lion.
Hey!
and it's like, that's like extremely rare. Like normally it's like Big Brother Trader type recognition. And then, I was like super nice and tell me he has like a YouTube channel and stuff. But the thing was, the whole time, and I would try to tell him, I tried to make small talk so it didn't happen. He was shaking. I'm like, bro.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, bro, I'm just a dude. Because when you said all that stuff about the P.O. box, I pictured someone hand delivering a parcel to you and shaking. Of like a knit crochet of you or something.
That stuff is good to receive, by the way. It's more like when you buy something from a factory. And all of a sudden, I'm like, why do I have 12 Newt gun rays in my house? Yeah, it happens for sure.
It's in the trash. What's that emote? Satomari. Satomari. The short emote. It's in the trash. It's in the trash.
I have no idea, man. I have no clue.
Someone in your chat said you threw that right in the trash.
I didn't throw it right in the trash. I waited until it felt you put it on the counter and you're like, maybe we'll find a place for this. And then 2 weeks later, when you're cleaning up, you're like, I don't think we found a place for it. Speaking of which, I was talking to my wife about this, and we're trying to figure out what the... Apologies if this is a sensitive subject, by the way. Why are you messaging me stuff like, hey, help, my wife's getting serious about the Disney cruise. What should I tell her? I told you my honest opinion. I was like, if you go on the cruise, you'll probably have a great time.
Thank you. What do you mean? I said that because I'm starting to panic. I'm like, this thing could actually happen.
Yeah, why? What's the problem if it happens?
Because that's everything I stand against. I'm not going on something that I constantly make fun of you for.
I see your point. It puts you on the rhetorical back foot.
Yes.
I can understand that, yeah.
And it's like every day she's dropping little breadcrumbs. And I'm like, how do I get out of this thing?
Well, first off, you're asking the wrong guy. Because I'm into the thing. So how would I know how to get out of it?
They have given 1,200.
So what I did, my method to combat this is okay, make it as good as possible. So I go, hey Ryan, if we go on a Disney cruise out of X, Y, and Z, do you want to go? He's like, nah. I'm like,
well, you have to work on the the honesty of the phrasing, in my opinion.
That's what you said. That's what you
Do
said.
you want to meet me in city then? And I said, nah, bro, we just got back from there, and it's a much longer trip for us, which is extremely true.
But you didn't even run it by Kate. What if Kate wanted to go?
We go on enough cruises. We don't need to add another one to the repertoire.
Kate, I know if I told you this story, but I think last week or maybe the week before, I took my kids to a Red Wings game because it was like actually mattered. And
yeah, they were in the hunt.
Yeah, and so I just bought, like, I didn't even look at the tickets, I just bought them. And we go into Little Caesars Arena, and my son looks at me and goes, Dad, we're not all the way at the top, are we? And I'm like, no. So then, which also, side note, I didn't know that you can't walk into a hockey game while the game is on.
Yeah, the ushers tell you to wait until the play is done.
Yeah, that's like a different kind of decorum. I felt like it was like a high-class environment. But anyways.
Well, yeah, after 15 minutes in the stands, you probably didn't feel that way, is my guess. But
so anyways, my son's like, hey, we're not sitting all the way at the top, are we? I'm like, no. So Little Caesars Arena is like everywhere is a good seat, but the top is like very steep. So as we're walking up to our seats, we're in the absolute top row. And my son goes, Dad, he goes, are we gonna fall? And I'm like, no. He's like, my stomach doesn't feel very good. I'm like, I'm like, okay, everything's fine. So then we make it do like the second period, and my son's like, can we go home? I'm like, sure, no problem, because I don't like the Red Wings at all, but he does. So I'm like, okay, we'll go. So we get in the car. And he goes, Dad, I don't ever want to go back there again. I go, why?
Oh, no.
he's like, it's too high up. And then all of a sudden, he goes, all over the back. All over the back seat.
Is he still strapped in the car seat too?
Yeah.
No, that's a nightmare, man.
And I'm like,
captive audience.
I'm like, it's all right, buddy. We don't have to go back there anymore either. But I guess it like really affected him being so high up. It's kind of scary, I guess, for a kid, you know?
Yeah, dude, it's a little scary when I haven't been to the Canucks games for a while. If we're in the upper bowl, I'm like, it is high up here. Also, remember, I was losing it. Like, my kid is trying to get me canceled or something. Chad will remember this better than me. She was down here in my office while I was streaming. We were just, like, having a fun conversation. And then out of nowhere, she said, like, do your Mexican voice. I was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, do your Mexican voice. And I was like, I don't have a Mexican voice. Like, I feel like she's trying to put out like a cultural hit on me or something. That's what she said. Talk like Jose. I was like, what is the people who don't have kids are gonna be like, oh, he must have a character called Jose that he does at home all the time to make his daughter laugh. And I'm like, I don't even know what she's talking about, man.
What was she talking about?
I have no idea. I think she just wanted me to say like, no way Jose or something like that.
Get him out of here. Couple more hits.
He's toast. He's toast. That's for me.
Yo. This is not a flex, but I'm sure I'm going to speak for you too. I probably devoted 50% brain power to that fight the whole time.
At most.
Yeah. It was fun though.
Dude, what a game, Elden Ring.